Hello everyone, and welcome back to our channel. Today we read Journeying Back in Time to one of history's most legendary last stands, the Battle of Thermopylae. We've all heard the story of 300 brave Spartans facing a seemingly endless Persian army. But was it just a suicidal charge, a glorious but futile last stand, or was it something more? A calculated strategic sacrifice that would echo through eternity and help save Western civilization. Let us dig deeper than the legends and uncover the tactical genius and the true meaning behind the sacrifice of King Leonidas and his 300 Spartans. The year is 480 BC. Xerxes the Great, king of the Persian Empire, has amassed an army of unprecedented size to conquer Greece once and for all. The Greek city-states, often squabbling amongst themselves, are now faced with an existential threat. How could they possibly stop this tidal wave of men and steel? The answer lay in geography and a uniquely brilliant defensive strategy. The Greeks chose a narrow coastal pass called Thermopylae, which means the hot gates. This pass was so narrow that the Persians' massive numerical advantage would be almost completely nullified. A small, well-trained force could hold this bottleneck against a much larger one. And who better to hold that line than the Spartans? Spartan society was a military machine. From the age of 7, boys were taken from their families and entered the agoge, brutal training system designed to forge them into the ultimate warriors. They were taught discipline, endurance, and absolute obedience. A single Spartan hoplite with his heavy bronze shield, or aspis, long spear, and iconic crimson cloak, was a formidable opponent. But their true strength wasn't just individual prowess. It was their collective power in the phalanx formation. The phalanx was a wall of overlapping shields and a forest of bristling spear points. Each man protected the soldier to his left, creating an almost impenetrable barrier of bronze and iron. It required incredible teamwork and discipline, qualities the Spartans had in abundance. At Thermopylae, this Spartan-led force of a few thousand Greeks would use the phalanx to block the pass, turning the narrow terrain into a deadly meat grinder. The plan wasn't just to die bravely. It was to hold the Persians long enough for the rest of Greece to mobilize its forces and for the Greek navy to engage the Persian fleet at the nearby Straits of Artemisium. For 2 full days, the strategy worked to perfection. King Leonidas, a veteran king in his 60s, masterfully commanded his troops. The Persian army, with soldiers drawn from all corners of its vast empire, crashed against the Greek shield wall like waves against a cliff. Xerxes, watching from his throne, was said to have leaped up in fury 3 times as his elite troops, including his own personal guard, known as the Immortals, were repulsed time and time again. The Greeks would feign retreat, drawing the Persians forward into the narrow pass, only to turn suddenly and cut them down. The confined space meant the Persians couldn't use their cavalry or envelop the smaller Greek force. The pile of their own dead became an obstacle. The 300 Spartans, along with their Thespian and Theban allies, were holding the line. The tide turned not because of Persian military might, but because of betrayal. A local man named Ephialtes, hoping for a rich reward, showed Xerxes a hidden mountain path that would allow the Persians to get behind the Greek position. When Leonidas learned that his position was about to be surrounded, he knew the battle for the pass was lost. This is the moment that defines his legend. He made a critical decision. He dismissed the bulk of the Greek army, ordering them to retreat and warn the other cities. By doing so, he saved thousands of experienced soldiers who would be crucial for the battles to come. But Leonidas himself would not retreat. He, along with his 300 Spartans, the remaining 700 Thespians who volunteered to stay, and about 400 Thebans prepared to make their final stand. Why? This wasn't just about pride. There were several strategic and cultural reasons. Firstly, their stand would continue to delay Xerxes, buying more precious time for the rest of Greece. Secondly, a Spartan king did not retreat. It was an unthinkable dishonor. Their law stated they must stand and fight to conquer or die. And thirdly, there was an oracle's prophecy. The oracle at Delphi had foretold that either a Spartan king must die or Sparta itself would be destroyed. Leonidas chose to fulfill that prophecy, offering his own life to save his people. The final day of the battle was an epic of raw courage. Knowing they were doomed, surrounded on all sides, the remaining Greeks fought with a ferocity born of desperation. They fought not just to kill, but to inflict as much damage as possible. When their spears broke, they fought with their short swords. When their swords were lost, they fought with their bare hands and teeth. Leonidas fell in the thick of the fighting, and a vicious struggle ensued over his body. With the Greeks driving the enemy back 4 times to retrieve their fallen king, eventually driven back to a small hill, they were overwhelmed and finally cut down by a storm of arrows. They had fought to the very last man. So, was their sacrifice a victory? Absolutely. It was a strategic victory disguised as a tactical defeat. Their 3-day stand at Thermopylae was not in vain. The incredible courage of the 300 became a powerful rallying cry that united the fractured Greek city-states. It showed them that the mighty Persian army was not invincible. It inspired them to fight on. The time Leonidas bought was vital. The Greek navy, having fought the Persians to a standstill at Artemisium, was able to withdraw in good order and later crush the Persian fleet at the decisive Battle of Salamis. The following year, at the Battle of Plataea, a unified Greek army led by the Spartans finally defeated the Persian land forces and ended the invasion for good. The sacrifice of Leonidas and his men was the spark that lit the fire of Greek resistance. It was a calculated act of defiance that paid the ultimate price for the most valuable prize: freedom. The story of the 300 is not just a tale of brute force, but of strategic brilliance, unwavering discipline, and a profound understanding that some principles are worth dying for. Their stand at the hot gates ensured that Greek culture, democracy, and philosophy would survive, flourish, and ultimately shape the world we live in today. Their memory serves as an eternal testament to the power of courage in the face of impossible odds. Thank you so much for joining me on this deep dive into history. If you enjoyed this video and want to explore more legendary stories from our past, please hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and ring the notification bell so you don't miss our next adventure. Let us know in the comments what you think is the most inspiring part of the Spartan story. Until next time, stay curious.